galaxy was a loud place. Civilizations shouted to one another across the stars. They shared knowledge, traded goods, and sometimes started wars. But there was one small planet that had stayed silent for a long time. That planet was Earth. Many alien empires knew about Earth. Some had watched humans from far away. Others had sent small probes to gather data. What they saw made them laugh. "These humans are not ready," they said. "They fight each other all the time. They pollute their planet. They barely left their own solar system. We should take their world before someone else does. No need to fear them." But then, one day, Earth finally spoke. A signal left the planet. Clear, strong, and repeated every hour. It was not a request for peace. It was not a cry for help. It was a warning. To those listening in the void, stay away from Earth. We are not what we seem. You may laugh now, you won't laugh later. The message shocked the stars. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the transmission. Some laughed harder, some raised eyebrows, and a few, the oldest ones, remained silent. In the High Council of the Zelthar Dominion, laughter filled the Great Hall. 100 different species, all allied under one empire, watched the video of Earth's warning. "This is rich," shouted a reptilian warlord. "The apes think they can scare us." "They barely escaped their gravity well," said a blue-skinned general. "This message is a joke." But one voice didn't laugh. High Commander Thran, leader of the Zelthar fleets, stared at the screen. His eyes narrowed. He had fought thousands of battles. He knew that overconfidence often led to death, and something in the human's voice, calm, cold, felt wrong. "Commander?" asked one of his aides. "Shall we prepare the scout fleet?" Thran hesitated for a moment. Then he nodded. "Send one ship. Just one. I want eyes over Earth. Let's see if the apes are bluffing." Far away on Earth, silence filled a dark room. Deep under the ice of Antarctica, a group of humans sat around a circular table. Their faces were hard. Their eyes showed no fear. This was the Hidden Council, Earth's true leaders. They didn't appear on any news channels. The public didn't even know they existed. But they made every decision that mattered. The broadcast was playing on a screen above them. "Do you think they'll take the bait?" asked a woman with silver hair. "They already have," replied a man with a mechanical arm. "One of their ships is on its way." "Good," said a third. "Then the trap is working." Behind them, other screens showed alien reactions, laughter, insults, mockery. But Earth had expected this. In fact, it wanted this. For years, humans had played the role of the weak, the slow, the divided. They had hidden their true progress underground, in secret labs and bunkers. While the world argued about politics and money, the Council built weapons that defied physics, trained soldiers that could disappear in the blink of an eye, and taught AIs to think faster than light. "Let them think we're fools," the silver-haired woman whispered. "They won't laugh long." In deep space, the scout ship of the Zelthar Dominion approached the solar system. The ship was shaped like a dagger, fast and armed with plasma cannons. Its captain, Zhuroth, didn't expect trouble. He had seen many primitive worlds before. "Engage stealth drive," Zhuroth ordered. "Let's see what these humans are hiding." The ship slipped past Neptune without alerting any sensors. It crossed Uranus, then Saturn. Still, no sign of detection. The crew relaxed, just another quiet system. But as they approached Earth, something strange happened. The ship's lights flickered. "Power drop," the engineer reported. "Systems going offline one by one." Zhuroth stood up fast. "What? Did they fire on us?" "No. No weapons detected. It's like we're being shut down." Suddenly, the screen in front of them turned white. A human face appeared. It was a woman, maybe 50 years old. Her eyes were calm, her voice steady. "You were warned," she said. The crew froze. How had she appeared on their ship's display? Juroth tried to speak, but the air left his lungs. The ship began to spin. And then everything went black. The Hidden Council watched from Earth. "Target neutralized," said a young man at the console. "Leave no trace," the silver-haired woman ordered. The scout ship vanished without a sound. Not destroyed, just erased, as if it never existed. "We gave them a chance," she said. "Now they'll send more. Let them." "Should we hide our capabilities longer?" asked the man with the metal arm. She looked at the star map. More. Ships were already on their way. "No," she said. "Let the galaxy see what we really are. Let them come." On the Zelthar capital planet, silence replaced laughter. Juroth's ship never sent a final message. No distress signal, no beacon. It simply disappeared. "Impossible," said the generals. "They had top stealth tech." "Something's wrong," Thran muttered. "Very wrong." He ordered a fleet of 10 ships to prepare for war. "Crush Earth," the council demanded. "Teach these monkeys a lesson." Thran didn't argue, but in his heart he felt uneasy. Back on Earth, something woke in the depths of the ocean. Machines as old as Earth's secret war began to rise. Stealth satellites came alive in orbit, AI war minds activated, calculating thousands of scenarios per second. And in old military bases long forgotten by the public, human soldiers stepped into armor that shimmered like shadows. They were not many, but they were enough. The Earth didn't need large numbers. It had preparation, it had silence, and now it had a reason to fight. In a dark hangar, deep underground, a young soldier named Elias watched the stars on a holographic screen. He was one of the new recruits, trained since childhood in secret programs. "Do you think the aliens will attack soon?" he asked his mentor, Captain Reyes. Reyes nodded. "They're proud. They'll think the first ship failed by accident. And when they come," Reyes smiled, "then they'll see what Earth really is." Elias looked at the warning message, still playing on loop across space. "You may laugh now, you won't laugh later." He whispered the words to himself, then he checked his rifle. It hummed softly, no bullets, no lasers, just raw energy shaped by thought. Earth wasn't defending itself anymore. It was preparing to strike. A week after the human broadcast, the stars were restless. Many alien empires had heard the message. Some ignored it, but one, the Zelthar Dominion, took it as an insult. They had lost contact with their scout ship. Now, 10 warships moved toward Earth. Each ship was bigger than a city. Each one carried weapons that had destroyed moons, and each commander believed Earth would fall in hours. They were wrong. Inside the lead ship, Commander Relek Voss stood before a large viewing screen. His face was cold, his eyes full of pride. He had destroyed 5 civilizations before. To him, Earth was just another weak world. "Status?" he asked. "Entering human space now," replied his officer. No response. No signals. Voss smiled. "They're afraid." He turned to his soldiers. "Begin approach. Prepare to fire if they resist." The ships moved closer to Earth, passing Mars and its quiet colonies. Still no reaction from the humans. No warning. No defense. It made Voss laugh. Maybe their signal was a joke. One alien joked. "They should have begged instead," said another. But their laughter didn't last long. In Earth orbit, nothing could be seen with the eye. But thousands of silent satellites were already watching. Some were shaped like rocks. Some were cloaked in deep shadow. Each one followed a rule. Do not strike first, but never miss. As the alien ships moved near the moon, one satellite blinked green A voice whispered from space, heard only by Earth's hidden command center, confirmed, hostile fleet detected, action authorized. In a deep Earth bunker, the silver-haired woman, Director Hale, watched the screens. "They've entered phase line Alpha," said an officer. Hale nodded. "Let them fire first, then end it." The alien ships continued to move closer. Suddenly they stopped. One of their ships had picked up something unusual, a small signal, just a beep. "What is that?" Voss asked. The signal repeated, beep, 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 faster, louder. "Source?" Voss demanded. His officer shook his head. "It's inside our ship." Then, all 10 ships received the same signal, coming from different directions. In the command center, Director Hale gave the order. "Release GhostNet." In space, a massive invisible field activated. It was called GhostNet, a weapon Earth had never used before. It didn't fire lasers. It didn't launch missiles. It attacked technology itself. One by one, the alien ships began to shut down. Power dropped. Lights failed. Engines died. Commander Voss looked around in confusion. "What's happening?" "No control, Commander," his pilot shouted. "Even backups are gone." Outside the ships, the stars twisted. Because Earth's gravity traps were now pulling the fleet, were being dragged, another officer cried. "Into the atmosphere." "No," Voss shouted. "Fire, fire, anything." But nothing worked. The ships began falling toward Earth. Back on Earth, civilians saw something in the sky, bright lights like falling stars, but there was no panic. The public didn't know what was happening, and they didn't need to. In orbit, as the enemy ships dropped, they passed through a thin energy curtain. To the human eye, it looked like nothing, but to the alien fleet, it was death. The curtain was Project Silence, Earth's final space defense. Any object moving too fast through it would vanish, and that's exactly what happened. 10 alien ships, gone in a blink, not a sound, not a flame. Just silence. At the Zelthar Dominion capital, panic broke out. 10 ships, 10 commanders, thousands of elite soldiers, all gone without a signal. No distress call, no explosion, no escape pods, just nothing. Earth must have destroyed them, one leader shouted. "But how?" asked another. "We're more advanced." "No one is that quiet," one old warrior spoke softly. "They warned us," he said. We laughed. Now, no one laughed. Inside Earth's command bunker, Director Hale stood in silence. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't cheering. She simply watched. "All 10 targets erased," reported the technician. "Any escape?" she asked. "None." "Total containment." She turned to her team. "Clean the scene. Leave no trace." Meanwhile, in a deep forest, Elias, the young soldier, trained in silence. He watched the skies between trees, waiting for the next sign. His rifle hummed on standby. His helmet tracked heat and movement from miles away. Captain Reyes stood beside him. "They came?" Elias asked. "They did." Reyes nodded. "And now, they're gone." Elias didn't smile. He felt no joy. "Do you think more will come?" he asked. Reyes looked up at the stars. "Oh, yes," he said. "And when they do, they'll bring more fire, more anger, more pride. But we'll be ready, right?" Reyes nodded. "We were born ready. They just never knew it." In a lab, hidden under the Pacific Ocean, AI units processed the event. They studied the alien weapons. They adjusted Earth's next countermeasures. One AI, Sentinel-9, made a prediction. Enemy response expected within 13 days. Estimated force, full war fleet. Risk, extreme. But instead of fear, the AI's next line was simple. Probability of Earth victory, 93.7%. Back on the Zelthar homeworld, High Commander Thran stood alone in his chambers. He looked at old maps, ones that showed all the civilizations he had helped conquer. Now, one small blue world was glowing red. Maybe, he said softly. We woke something we shouldn't have. He activated a private channel. Send the Death Fleet, he ordered. They'll burn Earth to ash. But his hands shook as he gave the command. Deep inside, he feared what was coming next because he had made the first mistake. And Earth never gave second chances. The Zelthar Dominion was one of the oldest powers in the galaxy. They had crushed hundreds of civilizations. They believed Earth would be no different. After the scout ship vanished, they sent 10 warships. All 10 were lost. No signal, no survivors. Now they sent the first fleet, 50 warships, 15 dreadnoughts, 3 carriers with planetary destroyers, over 30,000 soldiers. They called it the First Fleet because they believed only one would be enough. They were wrong. In the cold dark of space, the fleet passed Jupiter. Its red eye watched them like a warning. But the aliens didn't stop. Inside the command ship, Fleet Lord Kareth Vun stood tall. He had never known defeat. His armor was polished, his rank badge glowed. This planet thinks it's powerful, he said. We'll make it scream. His officers nodded. They were ready for war. They had faced plasma storms, black hole weapons, and mind attacks. But they had never faced Earth. On Earth, the sky looked peaceful. Birds flew across blue skies. People walked, talked, laughed, but deep below, in hidden bunkers, the real Earth was awake. Director Hale stood in the control room. The screen showed the alien fleet coming closer. They've entered phase line Delta, a technician said. Hale didn't blink. Open Black Vault, she ordered. Activate Protocol Echo. In a massive underground hangar, machines rumbled. Walls split open, racks of weapons unfolded. And from the shadows a voice whispered, Echo units, deploy. 12 ships rose from underground silos. But they weren't like normal ships. They had no engines, no crew. They moved in silence like ghosts. They were called phantoms, built from black matter and wrapped in silent tech. They couldn't be tracked, seen, or stopped. In orbit, the first fleet reached Earth. Kareth Vun raised his fist. Prepare to fire. But before the command was given, one of the fleet's dreadnoughts exploded. No warning, no signal, just gone. Was that a system error? Shouted an officer. No, sir, it's gone. No sign of impact. Another ship vanished, then another. Panic spread. Shields up, someone screamed. But it was already too late. In 10 minutes, 20 ships were lost. Not a single human was seen. No enemy detected. Pull back, Kareth shouted. Regroup, find the attacker. But the attacker was already inside. A phantom had entered the command ship. It passed through steel walls like smoke, moved past guards like wind, entered the command room, and stopped. Kareth turned and stared. What is this? The phantom didn't speak. It simply exploded with silent light. On Earth, Elias watched the sky from a mountain post. Bright flashes appeared far above, like stars dying. Captain Reyes stood beside him. They're falling, he said. Elias nodded. All of them. Reyes checked his visor. Most. Some are retreating. They'll come again? Oh yes, but fewer next time. On the alien homeworld, news of the defeat arrived. Not from ships. There were none left. But from the few escape pods that made it back, the stories they told were full of terror. They never showed themselves. Our weapons didn't lock on. They walked through our ships like shadows. The Zelthar Council listened in fear. Earth has tech we don't understand. Should we send more ships? No, said one elder. We must talk. But others shouted, cowards. We are warriors. And they voted, send the second fleet. On Earth, Director Hale read the enemy's response. They're not stopping, said her assistant. They will, she replied. They just haven't lost enough yet. She walked to a dark console. Begin preparing Shadow Fleet. Everyone in the room turned to her. The Shadow Fleet? That's not ready. She looked them in the eye. It is now. In deep space behind Pluto, massive doors opened in the dark. Inside, a fleet slept, not made of metal, not powered by fuel. Each ship was alive, built from Earth's most secret science. Ships that healed themselves, that changed shape, that could rewrite gravity. They weren't just tools, they were weapons born from nightmares, and they waited for one word: launch. Meanwhile, on a quiet island, a young girl sat alone. Her name was Naira. She was only 13, but her mind was not normal. She could see radio waves, hear machines speak, and when she closed her eyes, she saw the stars. She was Earth's first human-AI hybrid, and now she whispered to herself, "They're scared." A nearby agent heard her. "Who's scared, Naira?" She looked at the sky. "They are. The ones who laughed. They don't laugh anymore." Far across the galaxy, the Zelthar Dominion met again. "Earth must be destroyed," one leader shouted. "No," said another. "We must learn from them." A fight broke out in the chamber. Words became fists, ideas became blood. In the end, a message was sent. "To Earth, we demand peace talks. Send your leaders." No answer came, not that day, not ever. Because Earth wasn't listening, Earth was preparing. Back in the control bunker, Hale stared at the stars. "They'll send more," someone said. She nodded. "And we'll send less." "Less?" She turned. "Less. Mercy. Not all alien soldiers died in the First Fleet. A few had escaped. And Earth had caught them. Now they were kept in Black Station 9, a prison in space, hidden inside an asteroid. No one outside Earth knew it existed. No signal could leave. No escape was possible. The prisoners had strong bodies, sharp minds, and powerful skills, but now they were helpless. Because Earth didn't fight with strength, it fought with silence, and that was far worse. Inside Cell Block Delta, Commander Varnox sat alone. He had once led a squad that burned 2 planets. Now he could barely move. Earth's tech had shut down his armor, his implants, and even his memory links. He had no connection to the Zelthar fleet. No hope. The lights in his cell flickered. He thought it was a power glitch. But then he heard a voice. "I know who you are," the voice said. He turned. A human stood outside the cell. She wore no armor, carried no weapon, just a calm face and eyes like steel. "Who are you?" Varnox growled. "I'm just a listener," she said. "Call me Mara." Mara walked between the cells, one by one. The aliens rose, watching her. They shouted, threatened, mocked her, but she didn't react. "You all came here thinking humans were weak," she said. "You thought we were slow, soft, simple." Some prisoners laughed. She smiled. "You were right about one thing. We are simple." Then her eyes narrowed. "But you forgot the most dangerous thing in the galaxy is something simple that survives." In another part of the station, 2 scientists monitored the prisoners' brainwaves. "They're still resisting," one said. "Some of them," the other replied, "but the fear is spreading." "How long before they start talking?" "Soon. They've seen something they're not ready to face again." Back in his cell, Varnox sat down. His claws shook slightly. He remembered the phantom. He remembered the silence. He remembered how his ship, his mighty warship, vanished without sound. No warning, no honor, no chance to fight back. Now he understood. Earth didn't just defeat them, it erased them. He looked at Mara. "You've built something wrong," he whispered. She tilted her head. "Wrong?" Varnox's voice cracked. No species should have that much silence. Elsewhere in the prison, another alien, Lieutenant Selkran, sat with his eyes shut. He was different, smarter than the others. A thinker, not just a fighter. When Mara reached his cell, he opened his eyes. "I know what you're doing," he said. "And what's that?" she asked. "You want us to talk? To break? To beg?" "No," she said calmly. "You've already broken. I'm just here to collect the pieces." He smiled. "I'll make you a deal. Let me send a message to my people. I'll tell them Earth is not to be touched." Mara didn't move. "That message is already too late." Back at Earth Command, Director Hale watched the feed from Black Station 9. "Some of them are ready," an agent said. Hale nodded. "Bring Selkran to the deep room, alone." In Black Station 9, Selkran was moved to another part of the asteroid, walked past strange symbols on the walls. He saw no guards, no cameras, but he knew he was being watched. He entered a round room with only one chair and one human already sitting there. It was a girl, young, maybe 13, barefoot, hair messy. She looked up at him. "You're scared," she said. Selkran froze. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm Naira." She smiled. "But I'm not really just a girl." Selkran felt cold. Her eyes glowed faint blue. "You're the hybrid," he whispered. She nodded. "I can see your thoughts." She tilted her head. "You saw the black ships, didn't you?" Selkran nodded slowly. "They weren't ships," he said. "They were alive." Neera closed her eyes. "They're part of Earth, not built, born. And now, they're awake." Selkran stood in silence. He had studied hundreds of war forms, but this was different. "You can still stop this," he said. "Your leaders can send peace." Naira opened her eyes. "No," she said gently. "You can stop this, but only if you warn the others." He stared at her. "You'll let me go?" She stood up and walked closer. "Earth doesn't want war, but if you don't run now, you'll be the last ones left to speak." The next day, Selkran was dropped at the edge of Zelthar space, in an escape pod, alone. His people found him, weak and confused. They brought him before the Dominion Council. "What did they do to you?" the council asked. He looked up. "They listened," he said. The leaders leaned forward. "Did you see their weapons?" "No." "Did you see their fleet?" "No." "Then why are you afraid?" He looked around. "Because I saw something worse." "What?" he whispered. "A child who controls the stars." But the council didn't believe him. They laughed. They thought he was broken. They ignored his warning. And so, they made their final mistake. Back on Earth, Mara watched Selkran's escape pod vanish into space. Captain Reyes stood beside her. "Think he'll warn them?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes." "Will they listen?" She paused. "No." Reyes sighed. "Then it's war." Mara looked up at the sky. "No," she said quietly. "It's judgment." In the shadows of Earth, the Shadow Fleet moved into place. In silence, without glory, without sound, but full of purpose. The prisoners had spoken, but they had spoken too late. Now, Earth no longer waited. It was coming, and the stars would never forget. What happened next? The second fleet of the Zelthar Dominion arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. 100 warships, 30 dreadnoughts, 5 command ships. More weapons than the first fleet had ever carried. They didn't come to fight. They came to conquer. "We'll break their defenses in 1 hour," said Admiral Threx, the fleet commander. "Then Earth will kneel." But Earth didn't kneel. Earth didn't send peace. Earth didn't even speak. It just waited. And above Earth's sky, something had already begun. Far below, on the cold white ice of Antarctica, a giant platform opened. It had no name. No one knew it existed except a few. Single man walked across the metal floor. His name was Commander Roan. He was old, scarred, quiet, and he had the key to Earth's last defense, Project Emberfall. In orbit, the Zelthar ships lined up. "Give them one last warning," said Threx. Signal was sent. "Earth, you lost. Surrender now and we'll spare your cities." No reply. The Admiral grinned. "They're scared." But then, the sky changed. At first, the alien sensors picked up heat, then light, then something impossible. Thousands of bright lines rose from Earth's surface. They weren't missiles, they weren't ships. They looked like comets made of fire. "What is that?" a Zelthar officer shouted. "Is it a flare system?" "No," someone else said. "It's alive." The sky burned red and orange as the Emberfall array activated. In Antarctica, Roan watched as the fire lances climbed into space. Each one was a weapon, half AI, half plasma, and fully unpredictable. They didn't need to lock on. They didn't need orders. They just hunted, and when they found targets, they did one thing: melt everything. The Second Fleet opened fire: laser cannons, gravity torpedoes, star mass drivers. The sky above Earth turned into a storm of light, but nothing hit. The fire lances twisted between attacks like smoke in the wind. Then they struck. One dreadnought exploded from the inside out. A second ship was cut in half. A third simply vanished. The aliens screamed over the comms. "They're in our engines. We can't target them. They're inside the ship walls." In less than 6 minutes, 30 Zelthar ships were gone. Admiral Threx stood in shock. No enemy fleet, no human pilots. How? He didn't understand, because he still believed. War had to be seen, but Earth had learned to win wars before they even began. On Earth, Director Hale watched calmly. "Phase 1 complete," a tech said. "Prepare Phase 2, she replied. From the ocean floors, new shapes rose. Not fire, not steel, but shadows. Ships made from black crystal, powered by quantum storms. They didn't fly. They bent space around them, and they launched without noise. In the alien command ship, Threx grabbed his second officer. "Send the Doom Ray. Fire. On Earth." "But sir, do it." The Doom Ray was the Dominion's greatest weapon. It pulled power from a small star. A single shot could level a planet. The ship powered it up, but before it fired, the Emberfall found it. The ray exploded inside the ship, killing half the fleet's command center. The sky above Earth burned bright again, and the aliens realized they weren't fighting back. They were already winning. On Mars' moon, Phobos, Earth's military station came online, and for the first time a signal was sent to the alien fleet. Only one line. "This is your first and final warning. Leave now." Threx was furious. "We don't run." He turned to his fleet. "Send everything." But the ships didn't move. "Why aren't they firing?" he shouted. The officer turned pale. "Sir, they've all been disabled." High above Earth, the shadows approached the rest of the fleet. They didn't attack. They just passed through the ships. When they left, each ship stopped working. Power gone. Weapons offline. Crews unconscious. The war was over, and Earth hadn't lost a single ship. Back on the ground, Nera walked across a field outside the mountain base. She looked up at the glowing sky. Captain Reyes approached her. "Did it work?" She nodded. "They'll remember this forever." He looked at her carefully. "Do you feel sorry for them?" She thought for a second. "A little. They didn't understand what Earth really is." "And what's that?" She smiled gently. "A quiet place until it burns." The Zelthar survivors limped back through deep space. Only 15 ships remained. No weapons, no pride, just fear. One soldier asked, "What do we do now?" Another answered, "We pray Earth doesn't follow." But Earth had already sent something far worse. A message, not to the Zelthar, to the entire galaxy. A short broadcast sent on every known frequency. It said, "Earth is not your enemy, but we do not kneel, we do not break, and if you come again, we will not speak." We will simply end you." Far across the stars, dozens of species heard the message, and for the first time in centuries, they paused. No one had ever done what Earth did. No one had erased a fleet with silence and fire. Now, even the most powerful races watched Earth with caution. One species said, "Let's leave them alone." Another asked, "Are they gods?" And one young alien whispered, "No, they're worse, they're human." Back on Earth, Hale walked into a quiet room. A child sat alone, drawing stars. "Naira, you did well," Hale said. Naira looked up. "They still don't understand." Hale nodded. "They will." "Do we go after them?" Naira asked. Hale paused. "We don't chase, but we don't forget." Naira smiled, and as the sky returned to blue, Earth grew quiet again. But that silence was now feared across the galaxy, because everyone knew. Earth doesn't shout, Earth doesn't cry, Earth burns. After the second fleet vanished in flames, the galaxy went quiet. Too quiet. No one dared to send warships to Earth. No one spoke of invasion, but silence never lasts forever. One small species, the Threxari, refused to believe the stories. "We are smart," said their prime warlord. "We don't fear humans. We study them." So they sent something different. Not fleets, not bombs, but a strike team. Their mission, find the girl known as Naira, capture her, break her, learn what she is. They believed she was just a hybrid child. They were wrong. Naira walked through a quiet park near Earth's capital. She wore a plain blue dress, carried no weapons. She smiled at the birds and fed the squirrels. She looked harmless. But far above her, in a hidden stealth craft, 6 Threxari warriors waited. "Target confirmed," said the leader. "Begin silent drop," ordered the pilot. They fell from the ship like shadows, fast, invisible, quiet. They landed in a circle around her. The air shimmered slightly as their cloaks dropped. 6 tall creatures in black armor surrounded the girl. "Naira of Earth," said one. "Come with us." She looked at them and smiled. People in the park ran, screaming, but Naira didn't move. "You don't understand what you're doing," she said calmly. "You are not in control." The leader barked. Another warrior fired a stunner. Blue light shot at her chest, but before it hit, it stopped. The energy hovered in the air, frozen like glass. "What?" the shooter gasped. Naira raised her hand slightly. The stunner beam bent backwards. Then, it hit the shooter instead. He dropped, unconscious. The others pulled out plasma knives. "Take her down," the leader shouted. They rushed her, and that's when the sky darkened. The ground shook, not from machines, from presence, something heavy, ancient, watching. The air grew colder, then hotter. One by one, the warriors stopped running. Their armor glitched, their knees shook. "What's happening?" one yelled. Then a voice entered their minds, not from Naira's lips, but deep inside their skulls. "You touched the one who speaks for Earth." The Threxari fell to their knees. They weren't just hearing the voice. They were remembering things they never saw. Visions of ships turning to dust, eyes glowing in dark rooms, a single human hand raised and stars exploding. They screamed, and one tried to run. His legs wouldn't move. Another fell face first, sobbing. Only one could speak. "Please, please, we didn't know." Naira walked toward them slowly. No anger in her voice, just sadness. "You came for knowledge," she said, "and Earth gave it to you." "Well, what are you?" one cried. "I'm not the strongest," she said. "Not the fastest, not even the oldest." She looked up at the sky. "But I'm the one Earth chose to be seen. High above, the stealth." Ship's pilot watched in panic. "Strike team down. Repeat, strike team down." He tried to fire the emergency cannon, but his screen went black. Then it showed a new image, Naira's face. She stared right at him, through the ship, through space, through everything, and whispered, "Go home." The ship blinked out of the sky. Gone. No crash, no explosion, just vanished. The Threxari warriors were found hours later by human security drones, unharmed, but silent. Their eyes were wide. Their hands shook. One of them could finally speak. He told the medics, "We didn't find a girl. We found the voice of a planet." Back on the mountain base, Naira sat with Director Hale. "They'll tell the galaxy," Hale said. Naira nodded. "They'll try to describe something they don't have words for. Will anyone believe them? Some will. Some won't. Will more come?" Naira looked out the window. They always do. Weeks passed. The galaxy now whispered a new name. The Earthchild. Not a weapon, not a leader, something else. Alien scientists argued in secret. She's a trick. She's a myth. She's the key. And far beyond the stars, in a place no map reached, the old races stirred. They had watched for centuries. They had seen what Earth became. Now, they prepared to speak. One of them, a creature made of thought and crystal, spoke to its council. "Earth has awakened the speaker." "Is I time?" asked another. "Almost," it replied. "We will test her." Back on Earth, Naira sat under a tree. She drew in the dirt, not pictures, symbols. They glowed faintly. Captain Reyes approached. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded. "They're watching again." "Who?" She looked up. "The ones who came before war." He knelt beside her. "Are we ready?" She smiled. "We're human. We never are. But we still win." That night in her sleep, Naira whispered to the stars, "Come then. But know this. The Earth you face is not the Earth you remember." The next chapter of humanity was near, and this time, Earth would not just defend. It would lead. The galaxy held its breath. Something had changed. Not a war. Not a weapon. But a reveal. The girl named Naira, the soft-spoken child who made fleets fall and warriors tremble, was no longer just a rumor. She was proof. Proof that Earth was not weak, not broken, and far from alone. Now a question echoed across the stars. Who made her? The only ones who might know were the ancients. Far beyond the known edge of space, where time moved differently and stars whispered to each other, the ancient races gathered. They were not warriors. They were builders, thinkers, watchers. They had lived for millions of years. They had seen galaxies born and die. They never interfered. Until now. In a ring-shaped temple made of light and dust, 7 ancient beings met. One looked like moving wind. One spoke in silent flashes. One had eyes made from frozen stars. They studied a projection of Earth. Then they studied nearer. "This is not natural," one said. "No," replied another. "But it is not wrong either. She carries something older than Earth. She carries something we sealed long ago." The room went quiet. Then the eldest among them spoke. "The humans have unlocked the vault of memory." The others reacted with fear. "She knows," said the starlight being. "She remembers." "She's only a child," the windform replied, "but..." The eldest said, "She is Earth's answer to war." Back on Earth, Naira walked through a field of glass, once a battlefield, now peaceful. Her mind was quiet, but she could feel the ancient eyes on her. She whispered, "I know you're watching." No answer, so she closed her eyes and invited them in. Inside the vault, a space hidden deep in Earth's quantum layer, the ancients entered Naira's mind. They saw memories, not hers, but Earth's, memories of giants walking before humans existed. Fire that thought. Of songs that moved planets, of the first humans, not cavemen but travelers from before time. They saw a truth they had hidden long ago. Humans were not created. They returned. The ancients panicked. They left Naira's mind in silence. Back in their temple, alarms rang. She unlocked the first code. She saw what we erased. She spoke to the core flame. The eldest stood slowly. We must close the gates. The gates weren't doors. They were pathways, the deep channels between galaxies that allowed instant travel. The ancients had built them before Earth had an atmosphere. Now, for the first time in millions of years, they would shut them all. One by one, the gates began to fade. Ships caught between them vanished. Empires screamed in fear. Trade stopped. Exploration ended. The stars grew distant again, and no one understood why, except Earth. In the mountain base, Director Hale read the report. All intergalactic gates have collapsed, a tech said. Reyes asked, "Are we locked in?" Naira shook her head. "They're not locking us in," she said. "They're trying to lock something out." The team looked at her. "What do you mean?" Reyes asked. Naira looked at the stars. "They're scared, not of us, but of what Earth remembered." Haley frowned. "You saw it, didn't you?" Naira nodded. "I saw what humans used to be." "And?" Hale whispered. "We weren't kind," Naira said softly. "We weren't fair. But we were powerful." On the far side of the universe, a silent being floated in a black sea. It had no name. It fed on memory, on war, on fear. Long ago, the ancients had locked it away by making the galaxy forget. But now, someone remembered, Naira, and that was enough. The being opened its eyes, and Earth felt it. Thunder rolled across the oceans, not from clouds, from space. Satellites glitched. Time moved strangely. The stars flickered. Hale turned to Naira. "Did we wake something?" Naira didn't answer. She just stared at the sky, whispering, "It remembers us too." Back in the temple, the ancients argued, "We must erase Earth. We can't. It's too late. If they wake the echo, it will return." The eldest turned to the others. "They have already woken it. In hidden corners of Earth, old sites activated. Ruins buried under ice, deep in the oceans, inside volcanoes. None were built by modern humans. All began to hum. The energy rising wasn't like electricity or fire. It was memory, being rewritten." Naira returned to the vault, but this time she wasn't alone. Hale and Reyes followed. What they saw shook them. Floating structures made of crystal light, songs with no sound. Walls that changed based on thought, and at the center, a tall stone with human DNA patterns etched into it. Reyes touched it. It played a voice. "If you are hearing this, the galaxy has forgotten, but Earth remembers, and now it begins again." Outside, the clouds formed ancient symbols. All across the world, children began to dream the same dream, of fire, of cities in the stars, of war with no sound, of victory. And something worse. Not extinction, oblivion. Naira stood still. "The ancients will come," she said. "To destroy Earth?" "No," she said. "To beg us to stop." And far above, in the ruined remains of Gate Alpha 1, a signal echoed. Not human, not alien. The echo. It had returned, because Earth had remembered, and now the galaxy would never forget. The galaxy stood at the edge of fear. The gates were closed. The stars were silent. The echo, a forgotten ancient threat, had awakened, and all because Earth remembered, because a girl named Naira spoke. She had no army, no armor, no ship, but everyone was watching and waiting. Would Earth strike? Would it lead a war? Or would it do something worse? Across 100 star systems, leaders gathered. They had mocked Earth once. Now they built shields around their planets. They filled the skies with drones. They dug bunkers. But nothing came. No invasion, no message, just silence, and stars that flickered. like blinking eyes. Inside the Earth mountain base, Naira sat alone. Director Hale entered quietly. "They're calling for peace talks," he said. "Every empire, every race, even the ones who hate each other." Naira didn't answer. "You did this," he whispered. "No," she said softly. "Earth did. Through me." He sat beside her. "What happens now?" Naira looked out the window. "We speak." A signal was sent, not a broadcast, not a threat, just coordinates. One place, one time, and 3 words. She will speak. A station was built in deep space. Neutral ground. No weapons allowed, no guards. It was just a platform, open to the stars. And on that day, hundreds of ships arrived. Aliens, machines, ancient beings. Some were floating gas. Some were minds inside. Metal. Some were shadows. All waited in silence. Until she arrived, Naira stepped onto the platform. Alone, she wore no suit, no armor. She was just a girl in white clothes holding a stone. The stone pulsed with Earth's memory, the memory of stars, of pain, of power. She looked around, so many eyes, so many fears. Then she spoke. "I am not your enemy," she said. "I carry no guns. I send no fleet. I demand nothing. But I carry something you lost." She raised the stone, and images flooded the sky. The crowd saw cities floating in suns, planets full of music, peaceful races talking in light, and then fire, wars, silence, forgotten names, then Earth, a quiet blue planet, wounded, alone. But it remembered all of it, and it learned. Naira continued. Earth suffered, it fell, it burned, but it stood up again. Not to fight, but to wake up. She looked at the leaders. "You forgot who you were." But we didn't. Some began to cry, others looked away. A Threxari warlord dropped his sword and knelt. A machine being shut down its war mode. Even the ancients, watching from beyond time, bowed their heads. "I don't want your worlds," Naira said. "I don't want revenge. I want you to remember what it means to be more than strong, to be true." She placed the stone on the ground. It melted into light. The platform shook, and something began to grow. Not a weapon, a tree. Its branches reached the stars. Its roots touched the memory of every world present, and with it came a feeling no one had, known for eons. Hope. In one moment, every ship, every captain, every empire received a message in their minds. Earth does not conquer, it restores. We don't demand surrender. We invite you to become whole again. One by one, ships, powered-down weapons, flags of war were dropped. Peace talks began, not forced but willingly, and all because she spoke, because Earth chose a child. Back home, people looked up at the stars. No war came, only light, messages, gifts, apologies, and promises to never forget again. The mountain base was quiet. Naira stood on the hill, watching the night sky. Reyes walked up. "You won," he said. She smiled. "We won." Hale joined them. "They're calling it the day the galaxy listened." She nodded. "But they'll forget again," she said. "Maybe," Hale replied. "But next time, Earth will be ready." Naira looked into the stars one last time and whispered, "We were human. We are human. And now, they understand what that means." And across the stars, planets once ready for war began to plant seeds, seeds of peace, of unity, and every seed carried one word: Earth.